Good morning, guys, and I hope you're having an excellent week. I have had this on my heart and mind for a while now, and so I wanted to make a video talking about friendships, what it means to be a friend, what it does not mean to be a friend. And I know that the idea of friendship is going to be different for everybody because of where they were raised, how they were raised, when they were raised, cultural differences, mental health issues. So, I wanted to give you my interpretation of what a friend should be, what a friend shouldn't be, because in a time where we are so cut off from others, and the only way we communicate is through text messaging or online somehow, we have become so disconnected from each other, ourselves, and everyone around us. So, the true meaning of friendship, the true act of being a friend, is kind of being lost because we don't have a lot of face to face interactions. We don't have a lot of getting close to people and having to learn how to work together to build a friendship. And as you get older, making friends gets harder. It just does. And keeping friends, in my experience, gets harder. And here's some of the reasons why I think that. I think that as we get older, that our tolerance for things goes down. Our ability to cope with a lot of negative, bad interactions and untrustworthy people tends to go down. And so you are left with sometimes no one, and sometimes very, very few people. And if popularity is what you are searching for, then I don't know what to say, because most of the time, from observation and from being a person that is getting older, I'm still young, I guess. 40 isn't old, but it's not young either. I mean, that's just where it is. But here's the thing that I understand. If you are going to operate by the golden rule, right? And most of us should know what that is. But for those of you who don't, it literally states that you treat others the way you want them to treat you. You are essentially teaching other people how to treat you. And in turn, they are teaching you how to treat them. But due to the whole cultural age difference, the time difference, all kinds of stuff. That doesn't always translate into actual connection, right? Because what you believe to be friends and what they believe to be a friend may not always be the same. And so at that point, you really need to sit down and say to the person or people that you are trying to have a friendship with that that's the way you feel. And then you need to get real clear on how they feel. Because just saying that you're a good friend or that you want to be a good friend is all well and good until you actually do the work. Friendship is hard. It is. It's just like any other relationship. You have to give it time and attention and caring. And if you can't do that, then that's okay. But don't put other people through the things you're going through if you can't reciprocate, you know? Because in order to be a friend, you have to be there for that person. And in turn, they have to be there for you. You have to be willing to put yourself out there in order to have a connection. But just because you like somebody and they like you doesn't make a friendship either. It's work. It's your willingness to actually connect with that person and for them to do the same. But if you're not willing to put in the time and effort that it takes to be a friend, then don't expect others to do the same for you, right? If you're not going to call them to check on them to see how they're doing, invite them places to go hang out, or even to go hang out at their place or your place, that's not a friend. It isn't. I know that there are long distance friendships because people move away or whatever. And I'm not saying that that can't be a long-term, very healthy friendship. But you've got to consider the fact that just like a long distance relationship with a significant other, long distance friendships are hard. They aren't always guaranteed, and you're going to be left out in the cold if you believe that the only way to accomplish that is to sit there and ignore the fact that you need to do work to be a friend. The people that sit there and say, hey, I'm not a good person to have call you, but you can always call me, that's not an equal relationship. If the person doesn't think enough about you to interact with you, that's a problem. And making excuses for that is only your problem. Because you're not the only person in the world, right? You don't get to sit there and tell people that you really like them and that they are important to you. You don't get to sit there and tell them, hey, if you want something, you have to get a hold of me because I'm not going to do it for you. It's not friendship. It's not. That's kind of like having your significant other sit there and tell you, I'm sorry, I'm not going to ever call you or try to check on you to see how you are doing or invite you anywhere to do anything together and expect that that is going to be a bonding thing, because it's not. You don't get to sit there and tell people whatever garbage that is going to spew out of your mouth and not back up what you're saying. Friendship requires something of you. It's a sacrifice of yourself to another person. Just like a good friend would do for you. It is reciprocal. It isn't selfish. It isn't condescending. You don't get to sit there and be mean to the person you're claiming to be friends with. It isn't friendship to sit there and rag on them and harass them and say mean, hurtful things to them and then just, laugh it off like it's a joke. Friends don't sit there and try to bring others down. Not if you claim to be their friend. Not if they claim to be your friend either. That's not how it works. You see, every relationship that there ever was that is a good, solid relationship of any form requires sacrifice. It requires doing something. It requires you being willing to put yourself out there and do the work it takes to be a friend. And I'm going to tell you this because it's important. And you may not like to hear it. But if you're not capable of being a friend at the time, it isn't anybody else's responsibility to be your friend. It isn't. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't have friends. But if you're not capable of being the other half of that relationship, then all you're doing is using people. And that's not okay. It's not fair, it's not right, and you wouldn't want it done to you. If the only time that you ever contact your friend is when you have something to ask them for, information, time, objects, money, anything, that's not a friend. You're not my friend if you can't be there for me on my good days and my bad days. Because I would do that for you. Even in the midst of everything that I am going through, I will put myself aside to help you because I care about you. I love you. You are my friend. And if you can't do the same because that's what friendship requires of you, with healthy boundaries, of course, you have to take into account that every relationship, every one of them comes with boundaries, because you can't overextend yourself more than what you're capable of. But still, you're not always going to be able to meet them where they're at. And in turn, they're not always going to be able to meet you where you're at. But if you never try, then you're going to be alone, or you're going to go through people very quickly and learn that you're burning bridges along the way because people get tired of being the one to be there for people and then not having that reciprocated. It's hard enough being in this world of disconnect without having people sit there and not be willing to put in the work, but claim the friendship anyway. Anyway, that is what was on my mind. And I hope this helps. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Anyway, if you find anything that I'm doing to be valuable, please subscribe. Hit all the things. And I will catch you next time. Bye.